This is a quick video that will provide you with some tips to make your iPad function better at home. When you're ready to get started working, you need to make sure the power on your iPad is turned on. To do that, you simply go to the right-hand corner and click and hold in the power button until you see the white apple appear. Then you can let it go and your iPad will turn on. If you're looking for a specific app quickly, one way to do that is to use Spotlight Search. Simply put one fingertip somewhere on the screen and pull or swipe down until the search bar appears. Begin typing the name of the app you're looking for. If it's on your iPad, then it will appear as a selection which you can click and it will take you directly to that app. Another way to help yourself during the school day is to move the apps that you use all the time down into the dock at the bottom of the screen. You want to choose the 2 to 3 apps that you use most frequently. In order to move them down to the dock, you would click and hold the app that you're trying to move. You can either edit home screen or you can wait until they begin to wiggle. Once they're wiggling, you can drag them down into the dock and they'll stay there until you move them out. Just click Done to get them to stop wiggling. If you have a lot of apps on your iPad screen, it can be confusing. So one way to organize them is to put them into folders. It's pretty easy to do. Just choose the apps that you would like to collect together in one folder. Choose one of them. Press and hold until you get a menu that you can choose Edit Home Screen. And once they're wiggling, you can pull one of the apps and overlap it with another one that you want to put in the same folder. You can click on that folder and actually delete the name that it automatically gives you and put one that makes sense to you. You can move any apps that you want in that folder, and then your iPad screen is much more organized. Just click Done when you're finished editing. There's a quick menu on iPads that you can access by going to the top right-hand corner of your iPad screen and dragging down or swiping towards the center. That quick menu or control center will pop up and it will have different buttons on it that you'll see depending on what settings you have in the control center of your settings on your iPad. But most likely you'll see things like you can turn your Wi-Fi on and off from here. You can turn your Bluetooth on and off from there. You can put it into night mode so that you won't get any notifications or disturbances in the evening when you're done with class. You can usually lock your screen in one position or not. When it's highlighted, then it will stay in that position even when you turn your iPad sideways. There might be different things down here like your camera, or I have a timer on mine that I can easily quickly access. There's a couple important buttons here. One is your volume. You can slide that up and down. And also this brightness. You can, where the sun is, you can slide that up and down and it will change how bright your iPad screen is. That's really important because if you can still see your iPad okay, maybe the lights are on or it's bright outside during the day, you can slide it down a little bit more and that will really save your battery power if it's not turned all the way up to the brightest level. A nice feature, not only having your camera, but you might have screen record set up in your control center, which means that you can press this button and start recording what's going on your screen. You'll know that it's on because this little red button will turn on the top. That lets you know that you're recording. And if you wanted to stop that recording, then you would simply press that little red button at the top and it would allow you to stop recording. It would save that recording most likely to your photos if that's where you had it set, but you can also change that by holding in that button and you can choose where you would like your recording to go, or what is using your recording at that time. You can also turn your microphone on and off if you don't need any sound when you're doing a screen recording. So that's your control center, and that can be a quick and easy way to change up really basic settings on your iPad. If you're having problems connecting to the internet in your home, there are a couple things you can try. First, you might want to make sure that it is your device that is having the problems, not the internet. If other devices in your home, like a cell phone, are connecting fine, then it is probably something to do with your device. If you have an internet connection, you probably have a router somewhere that your computer sends data or information to. This is what mine looks like. Your router is a tool that your iPad will connect to in order to get to the internet. If you're having issues connecting or staying connected with your internet, you might want to check the router's location in your house or apartment. If you're trying to connect to a room that is far away from the router, then you might want to move closer to the room where the router is plugged in. That can help a little bit. If your trouble is that you can't connect to the internet, the first thing to try is to turn your device on and off. After you turn your iPad off, it'll take about 20 seconds for it to turn back on. If that didn't work, you can always try to turn your Wi-Fi on and off. One way to do this is to go to your settings. Most of the time, we don't expect students to change their settings in any way without permission, but in this case, it is something easy that you can try. A good idea is to ask an adult for help if you're unsure of what to do. You simply click on the settings icon and go to the Wi-Fi. You would slide the green button on and off to see if that helps you connect. If that still doesn't do the trick, maybe the password to the internet has changed recently or something like that. You can try to go to the Wi-Fi that you're trying to connect to and click the blue I, lowercase I, that's next to that Wi-Fi. And you would click Forget this network. If you're going to try this, you must know the internet password to sign back in or it won't work. Simply forget the network, click Forget, and it will prompt you to fill in the password. When you try to log in again, it will ask you to fill in the username and password possibly, and it will also ask you if you trust that internet provider. You can click Trust if it's your internet, and then it should let you log back in. Hopefully one of those steps will get you connected at home. Let's check out the Safari browser. Click on the multi-page icon on the top right-hand corner of the window. This will open up all the pages that you have open. It's a good idea to close these down if anything is running slowly or just not working as well as you think it should. You can close one single page that you don't need anymore, or you can go back to that multi-page feature, hold it down, and you can close all the tabs at once. That's a quick shortcut. If your iPad is running slow, or if you're just trying to keep it running as well as it possibly can, then there's a couple things that you can try. One of them is to make sure apps that you're not using anymore are closed. And that's really easy to do. All you would do is go to the home button at the bottom of your screen, the circle, click it twice, and then any apps that are open still will appear. All you have to do to close them is to swipe them up, and those apps are closed. That should help your iPad run a little quicker. There are some things on your iPad that you will not want to change without the guidance of your teacher or your school's instructional technology coordinator, or ITC. One of those things is the VPN Global Protect. This keeps your iPad safe on a private network. But some of our apps change very quickly and need to be updated. Some of those apps might be Microsoft Teams or Canvas. To try to push an update on one of those apps, you would go to the app catalog and find it in alphabetical order. I'm going to try updating Stream. Even though it has the green installed button by it, I'm going to click that button again. And when the window pops up, I'm going to click Install. I'm going to wait for that green bar at the bottom to disappear. And when it does, I'm going to click the home button at the bottom of my screen. I'm going to go back to the home screen and see that pinwheel to know that it's actually been updated. I also know that it's recently been updated because it has the blue dot beside the name. This is a good idea to do with apps like Teams and Canvas and Seesaw that often make changes to their product and will work better on our iPads if we push that update out. Sometimes you might have to go through that process of clicking the install button twice before it will actually work, but that's a good thing to do if the app is acting a little glitchy or not behaving properly. That makes sure that you have the latest update on your iPad. An iPad is hardware, and sometimes hardware needs to shut down to work properly. Even if you're remembering to shut your iPad all the way on and off at least once a week, you still might need to do something called a hard reset to fix small issues or if your iPad freezes up on you. A hard reset gives your iPad a fresh start. This technique clears the memory that apps and the iPad's operating system run in, but don't worry, you won't lose any of your saved information. It will still be safe. To perform a hard reset, you will need to use two hands. You will hold down the home button at the bottom of the screen and the on-off power button at the top. You're going to do that at the same time. Continue holding the buttons even after the slider appears on the screen. If it does, eventually the screen will go black. When the Apple logo appears, let go of the buttons and let the iPad start up like normal. This is an easy way to troubleshoot your iPad at home. One super important thing to remember when you're relying on a device like an iPad to learn every day is to make sure that you're keeping it charged. An easy way to do this is to charge it overnight. When students are in school, one trick we encourage them to try is to keep their backpack next to the spot where it will be charging. That way, in the morning, when you're still half asleep, your iPad is already in your book bag, it's 100% charged, and it's ready to go with you. Now, while we're learning at home, it's still a good idea to have a specific place where you charge your iPad every night. That way, when we do return to school, you'll already be in the habit of remembering to charge your iPad and to take it with you to school. If you need help with Canvas, here's how you find it. Go to the 3 stacked lines in the left-hand corner of the screen on your dashboard. Click Help. From there, you'll have a few different options right from within the app. If you have a question about Microsoft Teams, you can also find a place for help right within that app. Just go to the 3 stacked lines in the left-hand corner again. Click Settings. Then you're going to go to Help and Feedback. And when you click that, you'll find a button for help, which will take you to the browser where Microsoft will show you several different tutorials and steps for directions. You'll even find a section for troubleshooting on this page. It will open up right in the browser for you. When you're done with your iPad for the day, sometimes you can shut it down completely. It's a good idea to do this once a week so that the hardware can reset. It's very simple. All you have to do is hold in the power button at the top until you get the slide power off button. Simply slide it to the right and it's turned off.